it's Sandy Wiley. Welcome to my mental health channel, 50 Shades of Black and White, where I try to wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own mental illness, borderline personality disorder. I draw from my 20 years of being in therapy. I talk about other personality disorders and mental illnesses, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder, bipolar, narcissism, anxiety attacks. If you're new here, welcome. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It's absolutely free. But I need you to know two things before I begin today's video. Number one, I come on as a patient, someone who has been in therapy almost 20 years. I am not a therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I cannot give you a professional opinion. I can only draw on my own personal experiences with mental illness that runs in my family, with therapists that I've been in therapy with, which is many over the course of 20 years. So, number two, the next thing is we all need to be kind and be respectful. We don't need to agree on everything, but we need to agree to be kind. Be kind and respectful to me, be kind and respectful to yourself, and be kind and respectful to everyone else who comments. Okay. Today's video is, what's it like to love me? A woman with borderline personality disorder. Now, we're not all cookie cutter, okay? So I'm only going to say what it's like to love me personally as a woman with borderline personality disorder who has that. I'm not saying this is how everyone who has this personality disorder is. Only me. I can only draw on my own personal experiences. I welcome all the questions in the comments. I will answer one and all. On the one condition, I'm not like bombarded with hundreds of comments. If it ever comes to that, I obviously I wouldn't be able to answer them. But if I get a couple of dozen of comments a day, that's fine. I can answer that. I mean, I don't want to make promises I can't keep. Now, what's it like to love me? Well, there's a positive side of loving me, and then there's a negative side to loving me. But the one thing I can say is, fasten your seatbelts, fellas. You're in for a bumpy ride. Okay, here's a trivia. Who said that? What movie was that from, and who said it? But the reason I say that is because that's exactly how it's like to love me. You're in for a bumpy ride. That's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, let's start with the negative, then we'll go on to the positive. I can be very critical. Why am I critical? Because, I want you to be this perfect person. That you can't be because you're only human. No one is perfect. But I need you to be perfect because I never had ideal parents. I had a schizophrenic, paranoid father who left home when I was young. He later on came back. But he was, he had nervous breakdowns. He was hospitalized in McLean's Hospital. He was on very heavy medication. He heard voices. He was delusional. He hallucinated. He went into psychotic fits and rages that scared the daylights out of me. I had a narcissistic, abusive mother who used to beat me up, torment me, lock me out of the house when I was just a toddler. I put my head through a glass window and she beat me, left welts on my body, called me horrific names I can't say on YouTube. So I had, and I was an only child, so I went through this with no one there, to lean on, or like we're in this together. If you had a sibling, you could say like, well, we're in this together. So The reason why I'm critical, why I want you to be perfect, because, I couldn't pick my parents, okay? Unfortunately, I was given a raw deal in life. I couldn't pick my parents. So when I pick you, I need you to be, everything they weren't. Do you understand? I need you to be everything they weren't. I need you to be calm. I need you to be soothing. I need you to be reliable. I need you to be mentally sound, healthy for me. Someone I can depend on. Someone who doesn't yell at me, swear at me, hit me, leave me like my dad left me. I need you to be everything that my parents weren't. And that's a very big order, But this is why I'm more critical. I'm hypercritical because, I'm really scared. I need to fix my past, and through my present. So when I'm with you, I need you to really be everything that my parents weren't. And that's how I'll describe it, where it comes from for me. Another thing is I cling tighter than saran wrap. It is true. I am very, very clingy because, I had no one to cling to as a child. See, borderline personality disorder, like, I don't know the figures, maybe 9 out of 10, comes from a severely traumatic childhood where a child's been abused, neglected, abandoned, maybe sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, verbally abused, So that is why, I had no one to cling to. My mother would lock me out of the house for hours when, because she's cleaning the house and leave me outside like a 1.5, 2-year-old baby. Crazy, insane things. So I'm so scared. My dad left me when I was only like 2 years old. He left me with a narcissistic mother who beat me and tormented me and tortured me. I won't get into the details, but so that's why I'm very clingy. I don't want you to leave me. I can't go through that again, is what I'm saying. It was so horrific, my childhood. I just can't go through that again. So I cling. And that can drive you crazy. It didn't drive my husband crazy. Married here 37 years, Been together for 40 years. 40 years, me and my husband. But it can drive a lot of other people crazy, okay? Testing. I test people. I make them jump through hoops over and over again because going back to my childhood, my parents failed me over and over and over again. So I got to make sure before I give you my heart that you can pass the test, Because it's like an airplane pilot, right? I'm sure they're tested. They're not going to just send any Joe on a plane, right? Flying a plane with all those passengers. I'm sure they have to pass tests too. I don't know what it's like to be a pilot, but it's the same thing. When you're a pilot, you have like hundreds of people. Your life, their life is in your hands. So, after my parents crashed the plane with me in it over and over again, you see where I'm coming from? That's why I have to make sure that, I put you through test after test after test. And I did this with my husband. After test. And some people just, I don't blame them. I'm not blaming you. Some people just back off of that, say, screw this lady. Another thing is jealousy. Very jealous. Because my biggest fear is fear of being abandoned. And I can't tolerate that. It's intolerable, really. My emotions are such, it's intolerable. It's like, I don't get hot, I get burning, like my body's on fire, like you threw a lighter on me. That I don't get cold, I get frigid, like I'm in a meat freezer for days. I'm going to die. I can't tolerate it. So I'm afraid that, someone else will take you away. So I've been insanely jealous. I mentioned in another video one time my husband was talking to a coworker. We used to work together at an engineering firm, and it was just business. He was not flirting. He was not he was just talking business with her. And I threw my yogurt at him and started screaming. And this was in the office now, where everyone can see and hear. So I'm just so afraid, like, oh, she's going to take you away from me. You won't. Why would you want me? Why would you want crazy-headed, not so loony me when you could have someone, an engineer like her, who, is intelligent and, gifted and beautiful and, not crazy Looney Tunes. So those are the negative things. Now, but it's not all negatives. It's not all thorns, right? Roses have thorns, but they also have fragrant, beautiful, soft, silky petals. So there's a positive side. I'm very passionate. When I'm in love with you, oh boy, am I passionate. Now, just use your imagination. And if you can't use your imagination, I want you to go back, way, way back to my music videos where I dance around in barely nothing. Go back and look at them. The Amy Winehouse one. People have been watching that one recently about rehab. Or this, look at the Chop Suey one from System of Down. I did that. Just look at them. Watch them. That's all I can say because I gotta keep this PG. Very passionate. Another thing, I'm 100% involved. I'm 100% in with you, When I'm with you, when I give you my passion, I'm all in, I'm that all or nothing woman, that black or white. Either I'm all in or I'm all out. And there's no gray area, right? 50 shades of black and white. Today it's 50 shades of black and red. One of these days I gotta wear black and white. So I'd go with my, with my theme. So I will be, 100% on your side. I'll be watching out for you every second because I want to protect you, because I don't want anything to ever happen to you. So I'm always, extra protective, extra motherly. Tell you to eat your vegetables, tell you to brush your teeth, tell you to wear your seatbelt. I've done this with guys. I've done it, So I'm going to be extra protective, So you're going to be mothered. You're going to be mothered if you love me, you're going to get that extra dose of TLC. You're going to be mothered. Another thing is, because of my impulsiveness, I have a great sense of humor, by the way, and I do crazy, wacky, impulsive things that are fun sometimes. You got to have fun in life. But I do these impulsive things on a whim because it's part of my mental illness. I think I mentioned to you once, I had a boyfriend who, he said he got a honeymoon suite. So I dressed as a bride in full bride outfit with a big, big veil, a big wedding gown with a long train. So when he picked me up for the date, I was his bride. I said, well, you told me that you were getting us a honeymoon suite with a jacuzzi. So I dressed as your bride. And then we went out to dinner. Because it's going to take me out to dinner before we, get back to the room, And I stayed in that, and it was my real wedding gown too. I stayed in that costume while we're at the restaurant. We weren't married. We were married to other people, but we were not married to each other. And people came over to our table at the restaurant congratulating us. It was a restaurant at the hotel where we had the honeymoon suite. It was a restaurant there. People offered to take our picture. See? When I say when I'm all in, I'm impulsive, I'm creative. So when he told me he's going to do something romantic, like I got a honeymoon suite for us tonight, hon, I dressed as his bride, and people were buying that. I think some people took pictures of us and offered us the pictures and everything. They asked us. Oh, they congratulated us on our wedding. So I can do crazy impulsive things that are fun. I'm spur of the moment type of girl. I come up with some like crazy plans, and I just go with it. I don't think, when I want to do something, I just said I just say one time I wanted to go to Philadelphia. It was a big storm. I mean, when we got there, everything was closed. It was freezing rain. No one was on the road. It was ice. No, it was freezing snow. It was ice. It was the middle of winter. We took the red eye. We drove the train down at night, the red eye, to Philadelphia. This was all on a whim with my husband. And there were no cars on the road. It was dangerous. It was a sheet of ice. Everything was closed. So we got in this taxi, and the taxi was spinning and slip sliding all over. We almost got killed because no one, I mean, it was a major storm. And I just on a whim decided, let's go to Philadelphia. Yay! I mean, I do crazy, wacky, loony things like that. I can't think of them all because I don't come on here. I said this before. I just do these videos, okay? I just put the phone down in the tripod and just talk. I don't have anything planned. I just say, I'm going to talk about what it's like to love me. That's it. That's all I have planned, like with the subject. What am I going to talk about? Okay, I'll talk about this. But as far as planning these things, it's all 100% spontaneous. Like me. So, yeah, so it's fun. It's fun. I mean, I have fun with it. And I have fun when I'm in a relationship. I do wacky, crazy things. I can't even begin to think of them all. I've dressed in costume. That was just one time. I dress in costume for my therapy sessions with my therapists. One time, I went to therapy in a bikini. I'm not kidding you. A string bikini. I walked in. Not only did I do that, but I was carrying this huge branch that looked like a palm tree. We have a big oak tree in our backyard. And there was a big storm, a windstorm, rainstorm, and a humongous branch out of that oak tree fell down. I mean, the branch looked like its own tree. It was that big and that tall. And I took it and I brought it with me wearing a bikini and this humongous branch with all these leaves, and it was like 6 feet, this branch, into the therapy room. Why? Because my therapist was going on vacation. So I wanted the branch to look like a palm tree, and I wanted to look like someone on vacation, like tropical, like in a bikini. Just for fun. Another time I went to my therapy, I could just talk for hours and hours about the crazy things I did in therapy. I did a striptease for one therapist, took all my clothes off, and striptease. Another time I brought a suitcase with balloons in them, and I opened the suitcase and all the balloons went up, and on each balloon I wrote my feelings. I wrote like rage, hurt, jealousy, desire. I just wrote. So I'm like spontaneous. Another time I said to my shrink, because some of my shrinks were wacky like me, I said, it's a beautiful sunny day. I don't want to sit here anymore. Let's go sit outside on your daughter's playground equipment. So he was just as Lulu as me. And this was and he was married, and his wife was having patients. She was a psychiatrist. So I wasn't, he wasn't the only one in that house who was seeing patients. We went out, went on the slide, climbed the jungle gym. Another time when I was doing OnlyFans, how many people asked me about that? I did a video in my shrink's backyard for my OnlyFans in his backyard. Yep. Completely in my birthday suit and nothing else in his backyard. There were moments in the sandbox. Moments in the sandbox. Moments. I won't tell you what I did. Then I sent it to him. I told him, hey, you know what I did? Here's a copy of it. Gotta love me. You gotta love me. All right. I could, like I said, I could literally go on hours and hours and hours and telling you how much fun it is to love me. It's fun. But it's also a very bumpy ride. But I'm lovable. Hope you think so. All right, until next time. Adios. Sayonara. Au revoir.